Assalamu alaikum, brothers and sisters of Islam. I hope everyone is well, alhamdulillah. I'm bringing an urgent matter to the Ummah about beauty pageants, the fact that there are Muslim countries participating in them. Also shocked to discover that a non-Muslim called Josh Yugen is pushing Pakistan, which is my country ethnicity, into the Miss Universe. I was also shocked to discover that there are other beauty pageants in Pakistan's name, but also that there are Pakistani sisters who are participating in these events. I hope to raise this matter to you all and to set out why it is haram, and that with hope people will share the same disgust that I would have towards beauty pageants, and we will try to kick them out of our Islamic societies. So Muslim scholars have already ruled that beauty pageants are haram, as Islam intends to safeguard women from all attempts to render them into mere beauty objects. It's known that at beauty contests, women expose their bodies for everyone to see, and one of the basic criteria is choosing a girl for a beauty pageant is the physical appearance and the ability of the girl to make the best use of her body. Two prominent scholars, one from former Egypt, stated the following, that there is no doubt the beauty contest in which women's aura is uncovered and they are encouraged not to by the right Islamic morals is haram. The matter cannot be approved by Islamic Sharia or the morals of the right fitra or pure nature. This is because the halal is clear and the haram is clear as well. And this matter is absolutely haram. All those who participate in these contests should pay attention to the general rule of Sharia that whatever is conducive to the haram is itself haram. So the following Quranic verse explains how women are meant to lower their gaze and guard their chastity. They're told to not reveal their beauty, and they have to draw their belts over their chest and not reveal their hidden undergarments, except to their husbands, fathers, fathers-in-laws, sons, stepsons, etc. Basically, those who are permissible to see it. Now, some people may point out why the head or the hair is not referenced in this verse, and that's because when at the time of the Prophet, the women used to wear something called a gimar, and they used to already cover it over their heads and their neck, but they didn't actually cover their chest, which is why the Quran actually mostly refers to the chest in this verse. Whereas in context, a woman is still meant to cover her hair and her neck as well. Any failure to comply with the rules around modesty by any Muslim believer will result in that person being seen as committing tabarruj, which is a major sin. So I picked out a few hadiths and one Quran verse about tabarruj, and this is basically what we can get a consensus and idea of. That one who disobeys Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala and his Messenger Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam can only harm him or herself. A Muslim that commits tabarruj is seen as a Muslim being a hypocrite, and very rarely will it enter paradise. It also explains that a woman committing tabarruj has the attributes of a sinner whose fate lies in Jahannam, and a woman who takes off her clothes in other than her husband's home has broken Allah's shield upon her, and that tabarruj has some very satanic origins, as that is what happened to Adam and Eve when they were exposed for eating the apple. Even if a woman is covered up, I would still make the argument that it is still haram based on the following assumptions. One, the women are using makeup to enhance their facial features, which is the purpose of makeup, and they're making them more attractive for judges and viewers around the world. Therefore, they're still being objectified and they're still committing to tabarruj. Two, they're going to be still wearing outfits that showcase their body figure, which is haram. Three, they are degrading the hijab itself, as the hijab is a headpiece for religious reasons which women are obligated to wear. There are 100 different reasons for this, but mainly stemming from showing submission to Allah, commitment to be a righteous woman, showcasing commitment to protect yourself from sins, objectification of beauty standards, and safeguarding your chastity and modesty against non-Muslims and disbelievers. It's not a fashion statement to be paraded on a one-way walk for the eyes of non-Muslims to sexualize, and it's really for sisters who take that seriously. 4. They will be participating in an event in which other women will be immodest, and Islam refrains us from participating in such competitions. And we have to lower our gaze and show respect to other women, even when they don't respect their own chastity or modesty. This is no different from a woman who will be fully covered and be shooting on the front cover of porn magazine. 5. This is a competition that will always sexualize women for viewerships, and women being sexualized is not compatible with Islam. 6. Whilst modern beauty pageants involve causes such as philanthropy, the reason why they integrated this was to get feminists off their backs. This is nothing more than a simple PR spin, and even then they are still sexualizing women. For the misguided sisters who are hosting a Muslimah beauty pageant, please note that this is still haram, as the women are still being subjected to a standard of beauty judged by humans, and we are told not to imitate the disbelievers. According to Sunnah Abu Dawood 4031, whoever imitates a disbeliever is seen as one of them. Part of the mission that Allah bestowed upon Muhammad was to free women from sexual oppression, objectification, and to give them their rights. Yeah. We were to elevate the importance of women and their contributions to Islamic society by showing they can exhibit high standard of morality through noble and virtuous behaviours. Major components of these were about maintaining believers' modesty, which contributes to preserving and safeguarding their chastity, empowering women by showing that they have value beyond their beauty and should be presenting these traits as their star qualities, being able to uphold religious principles, being a strong believer who will be a great wife and can raise children strong in the Islamic faith, ensuring a strong line of noble descendants, being a successful career woman if they want to pursue this, as long as it is halal and is in compliance with the Islamic rulings. There have been strong and powerful women as well in our history. Naming to a few is Fatima, Maryam, Khadija, and so on. Even in today's era, women can draw inspiration from the likes of Queen Rania and female Islamic scholars around the world. We also have in the UK, for example, the Sabera Women in Business Award, which recognises outstanding achievements from Muslim female entrepreneurs in the UK. So we don't need a beauty stand pageant to empower our women. For the Muslim sisters who are participating in pageants because they believe it to be permissible, either under the following reasons. Either the pageants are not just about showcasing women's beauty, it is not against our religion to compete or they be acceptable, they are being allowed to cover up. Let me make it something very clear for you misguided sisters. Firstly, this is a major sin and it's not for discussion. This is not a religion that caters to women or men's feelings solely, we follow the commands of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. Secondly, I've already dismantled this whole thing about beauty pageants incorporating things like philanthropy so it can be seen as not objectifying women. Thirdly, this is a sin that will be permanently on the internet for everyone to see, and as per what the following hadith, Allah will not forgive sins that are exposed publicly and remain so. Point 4. Chastity and modesty are a core part of your lifestyle as a Muslim man or woman, and these are part of the core foundations of how you behave as a Muslim. By taking part in this competition, do you seriously think you are treating Allah as the only being worthy of worship and submission when you compromise your haya and you place the glory, attention, and objectification from other humans, not to mention your own selfish behaviors above Allah? 5. You are showing respect not just to Allah but also Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam by dishonouring what he ought to forbid, your fellow Muslimah as are mentioned in Part 7 and your ancestors. Point 6. The hijab is not a fashion statement for you to wear and parade for the entertainment of impermissible people. In addition, you are sexualizing the hijab, which non-Muslims are already doing. 7. You are currently letting down the Muslimah who uphold the values of Islam. You are also letting down the great women that came before you that followed the commands with serious commitment, not to mention the Muslim women who held high position in Islam because they stood up and helped to forbid what was haram. And there are over 8,000 Islamic female scholars throughout Islamic history, which goes to show you that Muslim women could hold high positions within Islam. Point 8. You are perpetuating the notion that Muslim women are corruptible, easily swayed from their religion, and can turn into objects for the viewing of the non-Muslim and disbelievers. No Western media has ever cited the scholars' rulings when they talked about beauty pageants and Muslim women, and the pageant organisers know this. They know it's haram under any circumstances, but they still want to entice you to join because they have no respect for your religion. Point 9, and well, effectively, control your feelings and desires. You are a Muslim. When you took your Shahada, that should have meant something. An essential component of being a Muslim, as a Muslim that tries to aspire towards righteousness, part of that is acting with nobility, which forbids us to enact on sinful desires, and you trust that Allah knows best. Point 10. Now that you have openly said that beauty pageants are permissible, you have taken the position of turning the haram into halal, something that only Allah can decide. This sin can take you out of the fold of Islam. Dr. Sheikh Yusuf al-Qaradawi, an Egyptian Islamic scholar and moderate Islamist, made it clear that the rule is that everything is halal unless explicitly forbidden by the Quran or Sunnah of the Prophet, or the Islamic scholars can find general consensus subject to interpretation or juristic efforts in expert legal rulings. He makes it clear that one should guard against things on the borderline between halal and haram. This principle originates from the following hadith of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. What is halal is clear and what is haram is clear. Midway between them are things which many people do not know whether they are halal or haram. He also keeps away from them, will protect his religion, and will be safe. He who approaches them will be very near to haram, like a herdsman wandering near Hema, who could soon fall into this protected area, and Allah's protected are what he declared forbidden. If a Muslim contradicts a ruling that is established by an explicit text in the Quran or sunnah that cannot be subjected to interpretation or jurisdiction effort or contradict an established and decisive consensus ruling, that the correct ruling should be clarified to them. If they accept this, then praise be Allah. If not, then and they insist on changing Allah's ruling after it has been clarified and the evidence is given to them, they are deemed to be a kafir and treated as an apostate from the religion of Islam. For the sisters who have committed the sin, I hope you now have better understanding why the beauty pageants are a major sin. I hope you feel genuine remorse and repentance to Allah and you vow to never to do it again and to prevent other sisters from falling into this trap. For the remaining Muslimah, please do not fall into the trap of these beauty pageants. Stay away from such events. Remember the honor and importance Allah recognizes towards women, and remember that you have the trust of Allah to ensure that you can be as righteous as the men, if not better. Do not let down Allah or the Muslimah who strive so hard to prove that women were capable of this enormous responsibility and trust. Now, here is a list of all the Muslim countries that are either willingly participating in the beauty pageants, being dragged into it, or have ceased being part of it. There's 20 that have been willingly participating in them, and I have to say to those countries, I'm disappointed a major sin has been accepted by you, when Islam requires you to reject the forbidden. No Islamic country with Sharia law, or with any majority Muslim population, should have any involvement with beauty pageants, and disbelievers like Josh Yugen should be prevented from dragging Muslim countries into it. I have no issue with Josh Yugen if he wants to live in the UAE and run his businesses there. However, he has to understand that does not give him the right to disrespect Islam and drag Islamic countries into actual events that are forbidden to their religion. And for us, the Muslim nation, and for those who participate in this, when we as Muslims took the Shahada, that should have meant something to us as a Muslim. How can we claim to be believers of Islam yet stand by while these major sins are being integrated? The Quran is very clear about rejecting what is wrong and only embrace what is good. How are you allowing believing women of Allah to degrade their modesty and chastity when that is a core trait of being a righteous Muslim? How can you allow or encourage them to commit tabarruj, given this is a major sin, and the potential ramifications as per the Hadith, not to mention the other sins that could be applicable to this? Would you allow any of the women in your family to commit the sin, knowing the risks that come with it, knowing it's unforgivable to an extent because it's exposed for the whole world to see? If not, then why would you allow other Muslim women to do it, when they are your sisters of faith and we should be protecting each other? We are tasked to safeguard, be united, and defend the Ummah as Islam comes above all nations. So it's disappointing to see that the UAE, and particularly the overseas Pakistanis living there, did not intervene to stop Josh Yugen on behalf of your brothers and sisters in faith. Is this how we showed unity towards each other? By stabbing each other in the back, by turning a blind eye on any form of oppression? If the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, the Imam Mahdi, Isa alayhi salam, or Fatima, or any other significant Muslim figure was here right now, how do you think they would react? I don't believe that brothers and sisters of the faith accept beauty pageants, but you can't just stand by and let this happen to your communities and your nations. You will end up like the Christians, where they become so tolerant of everything that people just sin recklessly. And for those who say this is just something between those individuals and God, well, guess what? One of the surahs mentions that cursed by the tongue of David and of Jesus, the son of Mary, were those who disbelieved among the children of Israel. That was because they disobeyed and transgressed. They would not prevent one another from the wrongdoing they did. How evil was that which they were doing? There you go. Clear punishment and consequence of what happens when you don't stop each other from transgressing and committing sins. And just to wrap this up, so Pakistan's gone for a lot in the last 18 months. There's been the floods, there's been political infighting, there's been the citizens being hurt from peaceful protests. There's also been the internet shutdown, which has affected businesses. So, despite all this, yet Josh Yugen thinks for some reason that Pakistan needs to be in a Miss Universe competition against our Islamic principles, and for some reason he thinks he's got the divine authority. To my brothers and sisters in Pakistani ethnicity, let me ask you this: are you a Muslim, or are you a follower of Dajjal, Shaitan, Kafir? What are you a follower of? I'm a follower of Allah. I hope you are too. And if you are, check this guy out. And let's make it clear, he's not welcome anymore. And to my brothers and sisters of Islam, I hope that this is all a wake-up call for you lot as well. And I hope that you finally see sense, you finally see remorse, and you finally withdraw from these stupid beauty pageants and never associate yourself with them again.